Stunningly blunt language from President Obama on torture and new pressure on the CIA, just days before the release of an explosive Senate investigation into the agency's interrogation practices after 9/11. The president speaking out, defending his CIA director, who's under fire from senators livid over CIA snooping on Senate staff. ABC's chief White House correspondent John Karl has the story.
The long-awaited report by the Senate Intelligence Committee may cast the harshest light yet on the CIA's post-9/11 interrogation program. Here's how the president summed it up on Friday.
We tortured some folks. We did some things that were contrary to our values.
President Obama came into office criticizing those policies.
We must leave these methods where they belong, in the past.
But now he's also urging people to understand what the CIA was up against after the September 11th attacks.
It's important for us not to feel too sanctimonious in retrospect about the tough job that those folks had.
And the report isn't the only bad news for the intelligence community. CIA Director John Brennan had to make an extraordinary apology this week, admitting the CIA spied on computers used by congressional staffers working on the interrogation report. The accusation of CIA spying was first made in March by Senate Intelligence Committee Chairwoman Dianne Feinstein.
I have grave concerns that the CIA's search may well have violated the separation of powers principles.
Back then, Brennan strongly denied the charge.
Nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, we wouldn't do that. I mean, that's just beyond the scope of reason.
And while some Democrats are now calling on Brennan to resign, President Obama is standing by him.
I have full confidence in John Brennan.
For This Week, Jonathan Karl, ABC News, Washington.
Thanks to John for that. And joining us now, senior White House advisor Dan Pfeiffer. Dan, thanks for coming in this morning. We just saw the president says he has full confidence in John Brennan. But we also saw just a few months ago John Brennan say he didn't know about this snooping, that nothing could be further from the truth. So either he wasn't telling the truth or he didn't know what was going on in his own agency. Doesn't that trouble the president?
Well, I think what we have to do is look at how Director Brennan responded to this. When there were allegations of improper conduct, he was the one who referred it to the Inspector General. And when the Inspector General came back with its report this week, he's setting up an accountability review board to ensure that the right steps are taken to provide accountability. And John Brennan is a man of great integrity and ability. He's someone the president knows very well, and the president has confidence in him.
The Senate report is likely to come out this week, maybe a little later. Will the president do anything more, order any more actions in the wake of this report?
I think that what this report does, which the president called for to be declassified as much as possible, as quickly as possible, is what he has said is where wrongdoing has happened, we want to acknowledge it, but most importantly, we want to make sure it never happens again, which is why in his first week in office, he signed an executive order banning these activities.
Let's move on to immigration. The president says he's planning to take action now that it's failed again in the House to protect more of these undocumented immigrants living in the United States. But back in November, he said his hands were tied on this issue. Take a look.
If, in fact, I could solve all these problems without passing laws in Congress, then I would do so. But we're also a nation of laws. That's part of our tradition.
So, according to people who have been briefed by the White House, this could affect up to 5 million undocumented immigrants. Doesn't a reversal like that fuel the arguments of those who said the president is overstepping his authority?
Well, first, I think the reports you're seeing are uninformed speculation. The president asked
completely uninformed?
Well, yes, because the president has asked the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security to present him with recommendations by the end of the summer. They have not done that yet. So let's wait to see what those are before we make judgments about them. And what the president was referring to is that whatever he does in this space will not be a substitute for comprehensive immigration reform. Congress will still need to act. But because of Congress's failure to fix the immigration system and to pass the supplemental appropriations we need to deal with the specific crisis on the border, the president has no choice but to act.
But if the president ends up providing, even if he hasn't made a final decision yet, providing effectively no deportation for up to 4 or 5 million immigrants, how do you respond to the arguments of those like John Yoo, who said this? If President Obama can refuse to enforce an entire class of laws, such as the immigration law against millions, because he dislikes the policy, why can't the next president unilaterally lower tax rates by refusing to prosecute anyone who only pays a 20% income tax when Congress requires 33%? What's the limiting principle here?
The limiting principle is the law, and the president specifically asked what he can do under the law. Now, in 2012, he took a step to protect a class of individuals, the Dreamers, young immigrants who came here through no fault of their own. And And that was done within the confines of the law. Now, the Republicans last week took a vote to deport all of those people back to countries that most of them don't know or remember. And that, I think, speaks to the challenge the president has, is we need to address the situation both on the border and broader immigration system. So he's going to do what he can, but under the confines of the law.
And it'll be in September?
It'll be at the end of the summer.
Finally, on this whole specter of impeachment, so much talk about impeachment the last couple of weeks in Washington. As you know, a lot of Republicans say that you personally are the person fueling this. You want to keep this debate going to help Democrats rally their base. I want to show Nate Silver at 538 did a piece this week where he said Democrats are way more obsessed with impeachment than Republicans, points out that more mentions in Congress by Democrats than Republicans. MSNBC has talked about impeachment 5 times more than Fox News. Of course, you're raising a lot of money on this as well. So I wonder how you respond to these findings and the charge that it's Democrats fueling this talk.
Well, I think what I said was it would be foolish to discount the possibility that this Republican Congress at some point in time would consider impeachment.
But the Speaker said it's not going to happen. The chairman of the House Judiciary Committee told me it's not going to happen.
Right. And 5 days before the government shutdown, the Speaker said there's no way we shut the government down over health care. And lo and behold, we did. And in the House of Representatives, John Boehner may have the gavel, but Ted Cruz has the power. And so I don't
really think impeachment is possible.
When the House takes an unprecedented step to sue the President of the United States, for even though he is issuing executive orders at the lowest rate in 100 years, I think it would be foolish to discount the possibility.
So the talk is going to keep on going. Okay, Dan Pfeiffer, thanks very much.